Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to go over part 1E of the test 1 practice questions. So this part is about the accumulator pattern. Many of you find this to be quite challenging, so make sure you pay attention to this part. So we're going to read this code, we're going to pretend like we're Python, and we're going to write down what we'll print out from each of these. So first I think I'm just going to make some text blocks here where I put the word answer in them to get myself set up. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look at these. So for the very first one, we start off by assigning a variable called x to have the value 0. Okay, so it looks like this is the accumulator variable, the variable that's going to have stuff added to it probably. All right, and then we have a for loop where y is going to be in the range 5 to 10. So first we got to figure out here, what is this range? So range 5, 10. Remember that is going to be the same as a list that starts at 5. And then there's no third argument, so it's going to go up by 1s, and then it's going to stop before 10. So it's just going to be these values 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the first time this loop runs, y is going to have the value of 5. Okay, so first value for x is 0, and the first value for y is 5. And here x is going to be assigned the value of x plus y. Okay, so the first time this runs, x is going to become 0 plus 5. All right, and then that is exactly what's going to print out. So we're going to print out 5. All right, so in my answer here, oops, I'm going to put that in a comment. So for the first line of the answer here, it's going to be 5. All right, and now what's going to happen the next time the loop runs? So we come back up to the top of the loop, and now y is going to be assigned to be the next value here, which is 6. Okay, so now x is going to be whatever it was before. So the previous value was 5. Okay, and now it's going to be plus the current value of y, which is 6. Okay, so x is going to become 11, and that is what it's going to print out. Okay, 11. All right, so now we come back to the top of the loop and go to the next value for y. Okay. So now x is going to be assigned to be whatever it currently is, its present value, which is 11, and then plus the current value of y, which is 7. Okay, so that's going to be 18, and that is what is going to print out. So this is going to be 18. So you see what's happening here is we started with 0, then we added 5 to it, then we added 6 to it, then we added 7 to it, and we're going to add 8 to it, then we're going to add 9 to it, and this is how it's going. All right, so but let's go through this again, one by one. So the next value of y is going to be 8. So we're going to come to this line here. We're going to assign x to be current value of x, 18, plus current value of y, which is 8. Okay, so we're going to get 26, and that's what's going to print out. Okay. And for the last time the loop runs, we come back up to the top. We assign y the last value in the range, which is 9. This line of code right here, x is going to be assigned to be current value of x, 26, plus current value of y, 9, and that comes to 35, so that's what's going to print out for the last one here. Okay, and we can just check, yep, this is exactly what prints out. So we started off with 0 for x, we added the first value of y to it, got 5, printed that out, added the next value of y to it, got 11, printed that out, added the next value of y, got 18, printed that out, and just keeps going like that. It's pretty much always how accumulator pattern works, and they'll all be similar to this. All right, so let's look at the next one. So now we are doing accumulator pattern with strings. So instead of having a number start off at 0 and then adding numbers to that, we are starting off with an empty string, and then we're adding either letters or maybe strings to that. So, okay, we start off with t as an empty string. So t is going to be our accumulator variable that gets things added to it, most likely. So t starts off an empty string, and then we're going through each character in Hawks, like our school mascot, Hawks. So the first value for c is going to be the first letter here, which is capital H. Okay, so now we come to the first line of code here inside the loop. T is going to be assigned to b. So the C here comes first, so we're going to put the capital H for Hawks first, and then we're going to add on to that with the current value of T. So current value of t, because we haven't finished reassigning it, is that empty string. So we're doing capital H plus empty string. That's just capital H, okay? You can put with single quotes or double quotes. So first thing that prints out here is just gonna be capital H. So I'm gonna put that in my answer. All right, now coming back up to the code, we're gonna go through back to the top of the loop, assign the next value to C. So C is gonna become the small a. Maybe I'll just put that in a note over here too. Like right now, C is the lowercase a. Okay, and then let's redo these. Okay, so now T is going to be assigned to be whatever C was. So that's going to come first on the left. So it'll be that lowercase a plus, and now the current value of T, which we had written down here, it is just the capital H string. Okay, so together those are going to print out. That's just going to give us the string. Those are going to be glued together like this into one string, and that's what's going to print out. Okay, lowercase a, capital H. So already I think you kind of start to see what's happening. It's like reversing the string. Okay, so let's go through again. The next value for C is going to be W. Okay, so T is going to be assigned to be that W plus current value of T, which we had written down here. It's capital H. All right, so we're getting W-A-H is what's going to print out. Okay. All right, and then it's just going to keep going like this. Like once you get the pattern, you can probably figure out the rest of it without necessarily writing every step out. But let's go through it anyway. So the next value of C is going to be the K, and T is going to be assigned to be that value of C, which is K, plus current value of T, which is this W-A-H string. Okay, so it's going to be Hawk backwards, K-W-A-H, like that. All right, and then for the very last time the loop runs, the variable C is going to be assigned to be the S. Okay, so T is then going to be assigned to be C, which is lowercase s, plus the current or previous value of T, which is K-W-A-H, like this. So we get the entire backwards Hawk string. All right, and we can check if this is really what prints out. Yep, so starting backwards from the H. I'm just gonna actually erase this because I think these notes will be confusing if anybody reads them outside of this video, like out of context. Okay, let's do the next one down here. So this looks pretty similar to the first one where we were starting off with x being 0, and then we were adding a bunch of different y values to that. So we had x equals x plus y, and then we were printing x. So that's pretty similar to this one. Our accumulator variable is called t. That probably stands for total. Starts off at 0. Then we're going through a bunch of numbers in this list here, and we're updating t to have the new value of current value of t plus the current number in the list that we're looking at. And then we're printing out our new value of t. So let's see if we can do this one actually without like writing out all the little notes and things. So let's see. T starts off as 0, and then num, well, maybe I'll do like a little bit of notes at the beginning here. So num is going to start off with the first value being -4. So the first value that t gets assigned here inside the loop is going to be current value of t, which is 0, plus the current number, which is -4. So that's going to be -4. Okay, so the first number that's going to print out here. Okay, I had a little interruption there, but the first value that's going to print out here is going to be -4. All right, so now the next time that the loop runs, num is going to be assigned to be 5, and we're going to reassign t to be current value of t, which is -4, plus current value of num, which is 5. Okay, so that's going to come out to 1. So the next thing that's going to print is 1. So let's try doing the rest of this without actually like writing out these calculations every single time and see if we can just figure this out. Okay, so the next number that we're going to add to t is going to be -1. So current value of t is 1. We're going to add -1. That's going to take us to 0. Okay, the next value that's going to be added to t is 2. So current value of t is 0, and we're going to be adding 2. So that'll be 2. And then the last value that we're going to add to t is 7. So current value of t is 2. We're going to add 7. That's going to take us to 9. All right, and that should be the sum of all of these numbers here that are in the list, 9. Okay, so let's try the next one. So you need to know what this range here is going to be. So range from 1 to 5 is going to start at 1, and then it's always going to stop before the second number. And since there's no third number, we're going up by 1s. So we're going to start at 1, and then 2, 3, and then we're going to stop at 4 because that's 1 before 5. So here we're doing the accumulator pattern, but it's a little bit different from before because we're starting off at 1, not at 0, and we are multiplying, not adding. So that's why we have to start at 1 and not 0, so we can multiply things without just getting 0 every time. Okay, so the first value for n is going to be 1. So the first assignment for a new value of x is going to be current value of x, which is 1, times current value of n, which is 1. Okay, so first thing that prints out here is 1. Next time we run the loop, n is going to be 2. So x is going to be updated to be current value of x, which will be 1, times current value of n, which will be 2. Okay, so that's going to be 2. All right, now you might think it just counts up, but be a little bit careful because it's not going to do that. So the next time this runs, x is going to be updated to be current value of x, which is 2, times current value of n, which is going to be 3. Okay, so that's going to be 6. So we're not adding up 1, 2, 3, we're multiplying 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry, so that's going to be 6. And then for the last time, n is going to be 4. So x is going to be assigned current value of x, which is 6, times current value of n, which is 4. So this will be 24. Okay, so it's like, this is 1 times 1, and then times 2, and then times 3, and then times 4. All right. Okay, second to last one here, we are doing another accumulator pattern with strings. So r is our accumulator variable, and x is going to go through each character in CSCI. So first x will be this capital C, and then the capital S, and then the capital C, and the capital I, and so on. And each time we are assigning r to be current value of r plus x, so plus 1 letter, and then plus a period. So we're adding 2 characters to r each time. We're adding whatever letter we're looking at here in CSCI, and then a period. So hopefully you understand, like, even without running it, like kind of what's going to happen is we're going to add a letter and a period, add a letter and a period, add a letter and a period. So it's going to be CSCI with like dots in between them. Okay, so the first time this runs, x is going to be capital C. So r will be assigned to be current value of r, which will be empty string, and then the current value of x, which will be this capital C, and then plus the period. Okay, so the first time this runs, r will be updated to be C period. Okay, so that's what's going to print out first, C period. All right, the next time this runs, r is going to be updated to be current value of r, so that'll be C period, plus x, so the next value for x will be this capital S here, plus the period. Okay, so that's going to be C period, S period, like that. All right, and then from there, hopefully you guys can see like what's happening. First it'll be C period, then C S period, then C period, S period, C period, C period, S period, C period, I period, and that's it. Okay, so we can go ahead and run that, just make sure. Yep. All right, and for the very last one, this is a type of accumulator pattern we have not seen before, but there's no reason you can't do it. Just run the code. So we're starting off, I guess this is our accumulator variable. S is starting at 210. Okay. And then Z is going through these 4 variables, or these 4 values here, 2, 3, 5, and 7. So the first time the loop runs, S is going to be assigned to be current value of S, so 210, double slash, current value of Z. So for the first time, that'll be 2. So how many times does 2 go into a 210? I think it goes in 105 times, right? And this division here, there's no remainder, so it'll be exactly half of 210 actually, and that'll come out to be an integer. All right, so even if we don't really understand the purpose of this, we can still just do the operations and figure out what Python will do. So we print that out, and then the next time z will be 3. So we're going to update s to be current value of s, 105, double slash current value of z, which is 3. So 105 divided by 3 is, I guess you might need a calculator for this. I think it's 35. Okay, so that's what's going to print out the next time. All right, and then we're going to go through the loop again. S is going to be assigned to be whatever its current value is, 35, double slash, next value of z, so 5. Okay, so that is going to be 7. And then for the last time it runs, now hopefully you kind of get an idea of what is actually happening here. Current S is going to be assigned to be current value of S, 7, double slash 7, and that is going to be 1. Okay, so that's the last thing that we'll print out. So basically, we were doing accumulator pattern with division here, which is not a thing we ever went over, but you should still be able to run loops and run operations and figure out what's going to happen. So we divided out a bunch of different factors from 210 until we got down to 1. All right, so that's the end of this part, and I'll resume in the next video with the next part.